Canelo got the victory on the weekend. Wasn't the best Canelo. And look, there's so much to unpack with this one. I do want to start with one massive gripe, and that is the size of the ring.
Yeah.
Now, I know for a fact they listed it as 18 by 18, which was horrible. In fact, it shouldn't be that anyway. I know for a fact that ring was actually 16 by 16, which is the smallest. I mean, look, Gareth, you've been doing this way longer than I have. That's the smallest ring I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know how John accepted it. I'm guessing, he got a nice stash of cash to get in the ring with him. But, I mean, that ring was only in Mexico. That's what I will say. Only in Mexico you're going to get away with a 16 by 16 ring for a world title fight.
Sí, solo en México, Jalisco, Guadalajara de Mexico, a ring that size, 16 foot by 16. If it wasn't stacked for Canelo with 49,997 of his supporters in there, the only three that were there supporting John Ryder were in his corner: Tony Sims,
Conor Benn,
Kevin Mitchell, and Conor Benn. I don't know who else was there for him. I don't think there was anyone else there for him. But 49,997 trying to push the ring into a 12 by 12 at that point.
Yeah.
It was one of those peculiar things because I got up and watched it live from home. And I just thought straight away, oh my God, that looks like 4 phone boxes, basically. Yeah. It was, there wasn't a lot of movement. But you know what? John Ryder stood his ground.
He did.
And he stood his ground and his stock has risen. And no wonder he was calling out Gennady Golovkin afterwards, even though he couldn't breathe for 10 rounds and was dangerously spitting a lot of blood, by the way.
So much. Obviously, he broke his nose. It was 5,000 feet above sea level. He said he was swallowing blood all the night, like after sort of round 3, round 4. So for him to keep going and go the distance with Canelo, I mean, again, in what was the smallest ring we've ever seen, like a kiddie's ring in your back garden. I mean, it only goes to show how tough John Ryder is. I want to focus on Canelo if we can, Gareth. For me, the best Canelo I've seen in recent years is probably Golovkin 2, Danny Jacobs, and maybe that jump when he fought Kovalev, although that even that wasn't the best. But at least Golovkin 2. He's not that guy anymore. I'm not going to say he's past his powers, because I still think there's a great fighter in there, but he's definitely slipping a little bit from the guy that I remember seeing against Golovkin 4 years ago.
Listen, I saw his debut in Vegas when he fought Miguel Cotto's brother. He was 18 then.
Jeez.
I was live for his fight with Floyd Mayweather. I'm forgetting the guy's name now, the Cuban, very skillful boxer.
Lara. Erislandy.
Erislandy Lara, which was a very close fight as well, by the way. I was live for that one. I've been live for a lot of his contests, and live for Amir Khan when he was very explosive and dangerous. Watching the fight back last week of his explosive destruction of Billy Joe Saunders.
Yep.
That was only 2 years ago, just 2 years ago now, I do think he's slowed. I don't know if he's sleeping in silk pajamas, but he's hitting that little white golf ball a lot, and he's got down to 8 handicap. Yeah. He's riding the horses out on the plain a lot and camping out. He's got children now, hasn't he?
Yeah. His wife was in the dressing room after with the children, which I kind of don't know if I like that.
I think he's the only one of his 6 boxing brothers who's still going professionally now. He's obviously the youngest of all of them.
$500 million in the bank as well.
$500 million in the bank. 62 fights by the age of, is he 30 or 32?
32.
Just about. A long career. Turned pro at 16, remember? He's not got long left. Altitude played a part, as did John Ryder's toughness. Because I think Canelo felt that after putting him down early, he was going to get the finish. But John was very, very resilient. There was power in Canelo's shots. But again, he wasn't feinting much. And he was just throwing big shots. He was wearing John down. I don't want to be too critical of him because he is a modern legend. You could make a case for him being the pound-for-pound number 1 right now.
Yeah, fighter of the decade, everything, all the accolades.
All of those things. 4-weight world champion. And we do get very critical of very skilled elite level fighters because we want more and we're greedy. There's a greediness in us to create poetry around them, to be inspired by them. And in many ways, the inspirational performance here came from Ryder, not Canelo. You know, there was a hubbub from those 49,997 people and 3 people screaming in the corner for John Ryder on Saturday night because people weren't getting bored, but they were going, why hasn't he finished him here?
Yeah.
Why hasn't he finished
They
him?
wanted blood.
They wanted blood. They got blood, but they didn't get the finish.
They didn't get the decapitation they wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
They wanted to see Ryder out cold and, you know, and almost get excited for potentially a Benavidez or a Bivol fight. I think they walked away almost fearing the Bivol fight. Like, oh, I don't know, we want to see him versus Bivol anymore. And maybe he is on the slide. Maybe their champion, as you say, has been doing it since he was 15. Maybe it's just all, it's a long career. Like you mentioned, no one does 60 plus fights anymore in today's boxing. You look at them, look at all of them, 30 fights, 20 something fights for a lot of these guys. The sparring, the silk pajamas, as you mentioned. He was on Forbes' rich sportsman list. I think it was number 4 or 5 for 110 million last year. What's the want? The full weight world champion. I just wonder what's the drive now? What's the want?
We're no longer seeing that kind of arching move to the side where he throws that left hook to the right hand of other fighters, the liver shot that's kind of, like you say, not decapitated, but eviscerated, if you like, is the right word, his opponents. Yeah. And we're not seeing that so much anymore. He's hunting with the big right hand. I don't think he's got more than 2 or 3 fights left.
Yeah.
Bivol is a very tough ask. Bivol is a very upright, beautifully defensive, skilled fighter. As Canelo said afterwards, same weight division, same fight, same conditions. I want to fight him again. David Benavidez, for me, is the fight. That's the fight, right? That will get the soul of Canelo out there again. You can explete all those comments just there, but that's the fight I want to see. It's the fight I've wanted for 2 years. Benavidez will bring it. Take that home to Mexico because that will draw the best out of Canelo. No underdogs anymore. Let's make Canelo the underdog in his last 2 or 3 fights.
Agreed.
Those
Take that
2
to Mexico. The Azteca.
Absolutely.
Is it the Azteca? The 100,000 seat.
Yeah, get him there for Benavidez. Get him there.
Yeah.
Blood.
Agreed. I don't think
decapitations.
Yeah, I agree. It's the one fight where he almost needs to go into the ring with genuine fear.
Exactly.
He didn't have that against Ryder. He's walking in with his D&G, which look really good, pajamas and his glasses. I'm like, there is no fear here. Benavidez adds a bit of fear to him. I don't want to see Bivol at 175. Yeah. I mean, Canelo's small at 168. I don't want to see him up against a big Bivol. Leave that alone. Benavidez, let's go.
Absolutely right. And I think that fight that could really sell properly. That's the fight. You could do it at the Azteca, but you could do it in Las Vegas in the big September holiday fight.
Yeah, honestly, you could do it anywhere.
Second weekend of
September. Was you up enough to see the ring entrance by Canelo?
It was phenomenal.
I'm so happy you just said that. Like, there's 2 schools of thought here. There's the old school Mike Tyson way, which I love. Just get to the ring, no messing about. The Michael Spinks one is the one that springs to mind, where it looks like he's almost snaking through the crowd to get to the ring. I love that. But if you're going to go big like Canelo did, that's the biggest go big one I've ever seen. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was. Look, when there's something special. Remember, they're Mexicans' national sport, the mariachi bands, their national sport is fighting.
Yeah.
Even more than soccer, even more than football.
Yeah.
And football is huge there. When you think about it, right, more than 30 million Mexicans put down whatever they're doing when Canelo fights. He is the most followed boxer in the world. And we must never forget that. This guy is an absolute superstar. He's the Tiger Woods of boxing. Yeah, he's the Lionel Messi of boxing. He's the Cristiano Ronaldo of boxing. Yes, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, Alexander Usyk are all huge because they're giant human beings. But this guy's the biggest star in boxing.